Hi there, my name is Will, and today I'm going to talk you through how you can use expressions inside of Kestra. Now you may be wondering, what is an expression and why might I want to use one? Now an expression is a great way for being able to dynamically pass data around your workflow in real time, which means that you can have data passed dynamically without having to hard code values. Let me give you a few examples. Here I have a workflow that has an input. Now an input allows us to pass data in at the start of the execution of our workflow so that we can get different results. And to be able to use the input, we will use an expression to define it inside of a task. In this example, I'm just trying to output the input in a simple log message, and I can do that by putting it in between two curly brackets, inputs dot and then the name of the input. So when I press execute here and I have the name set to Will, we'll see that that log message will in fact say hello Will. So this allows this workflow now to be dynamic without having to be super rigid, because without the expression, I'd have to hard code my name, and anytime I wanted to change it, I'd have to modify the workflow directly rather than the input field. Here's another example where I now have another task here that's going to generate data. We call these outputs, and we'll be able to use this data in later tasks downstream using expressions. As you can see here, similar to the inputs one, I've done outputs.return, which is the ID of the task, and then .value. And we can use the documentation to help us figure out what outputs will be generated. So we can see that this one will generate value. So now when I execute this task, we'll see that it's going to generate the output. This is data, and we can see that it then logs that later on too. And we can view that here too. We can see it generates an output value that we can use. We can also define variables inside of our workflows. For example, I have a key value pair here called debug and true, and this means I can use this in my workflow to decide whether or not I should run certain tasks. Here I've got the runIf property, which will simply check to see if a condition is true or false, and I can dynamically pass that condition in by using an expression. So here I'm doing vars dot and then the name of our variable, in this case debug, and because it's set to true, we'll see that this task will successfully run, and we can see that it was successful. But if I was to change this to false, we'll see that now it will not run successfully and it will just simply skip over it. So another really good example of where you can use an expression to make your workflows more flexible for different scenarios. In our next example, we have a trigger. Now when triggers execute your flow, they have a bunch of data associated with them. For example, in this example, we are getting the date when the trigger was actually executed, which is super useful because if you run backfills and you're running dates previously, then it will use the date from when it should have been run. Whereas if you use the execution state, which I can show you in a second, that will show you the time that the flow was actually run, so now. So we can actually see that this workflow is going to run now, and I can actually go and have a look at that right now. And as you can see here, it put out the time that it was actually executed. Now, if we're not using a trigger, we can actually change this. We can actually use execution as well as an expression, so we can get the date that this was executed. So if I was to manually execute this now, we'll see that it's going to actually execute the exact time that I ran this at. So gives you the flexibility of both. And to take it one step further, we can actually add the null coalescing operator in here so that if it was not executed with a trigger, it will use the execution start date. So now when I press execute, we'll see that it's going to run and it's going to execute the current time. But if I was to wait until the next time, or let's say I was to go back and run a backfill, which I could do right now, if I run this backfill, we'll see that it's going to execute that now, and we'll see that it's going to instead put in the logs the time of when the trigger ran it. So now I've got the best of both worlds. I have an expression that allows me to use my trigger automatically, but also will allow me to manually override it too. We can extend this expression even further using another operator. So we have the null coalescing operator, but we also have this filter operator that allows us to be able to take the date here and format it into a consistent format. So we can really make sure that the data we're passing to our task is exactly the format we need it to be in. So when I execute this now, we'll see it's going to write just the hours and the minutes rather than the seconds as well. And so if I click on logs, we can see it just says 1357, whereas previously it was putting the seconds as well. I can also get information about my workflow. So for example, here I can get the FlowID dynamically using an expression. So this is quite useful if you need to pass data to other tasks about what workflow is running. And so as you can see here, it says my flow. So there's loads of flexibility with these expressions. Now you might have an example where you want to execute code as part of your workflow, but you want to be able to hand in data at execution to get different results. We can use an expression here to achieve this. Now, in this example, we are using a Python script task, which means that we are writing the Python directly inside of the workflow. And because of that, we can put our expressions directly inside of the Python code. So as you can see, I've got an input here that's going to pass a URI, and I can then simply just put that straight into my Python code and it will start to use it. So this is really handy if you've got small amounts of Python code that isn't going to be reused between different workflows. You can write it directly inside of the workflow, so then you can get the power of expressions directly inside. So if I execute this, we'll see that in action, it will be able to interpret the expression as a string, and as we can see here, it was successful as we expected. So we've covered a bunch of different examples of what expressions are and where you might use them. Now, one other thing that's worth noting is how should you format these? Now, this is a bit of a personal preference, but the key thing to remember is to be consistent with your workflows. In most of the examples I've shown you today, we have got white space either side of the expression inside of those curly brackets. I just find this a little bit easier to read, so that is what I recommend if the expression is just on its own in isolation. Now, in some scenarios, you might be passing in a HTTP request. You might be doing something like this, where you've got a URL and you want to hand in data directly to the URL path, maybe because you're making a request. Now, in these examples, and if you're using these quite a lot, I'd recommend getting rid of the white space, just so that it's a little bit clearer to read, because now you haven't got white space inside of a URL, which is a bit bizarre to read. So now this looks a little bit cleaner, and with the syntax highlighting, it's clear what's an expression and what's not an expression. So hopefully that has helped give you a good idea on how expressions work inside of Kestra, why you might use them, and where you can use them. We've got links in the description to the full expressions reference docs, so I'd recommend checking that out because there are expressions for all sorts of things, as well as operators to help you format your expressions exactly how you like. Do let us know in the comments below if there's a certain thing on expressions you'd like us to cover in more detail, as we would love to be able to help you there. Don't forget to join us in Slack, and remember to give us a star on GitHub.